Hi everyone, it's Diane from Diane's Corner, and it's a lovely day today, about 28 degrees and a little less wind, calmer, and right now I've got some sunshine breaking through the cloud coverage, so thought it would be a good time to get down here. I'm down here, let's see, I'm going to turn the camera around, and it's the old Kubik house, which is now blue. Everybody knew it has a little different color before, but now it's blue. And then that house on the corner, that's the Endegard house. And so I'm going to go this direction. Here's Mrs. Sand's house. Birds are chirping. It's a nice day. Nice day for a walk. And let's see if I turn it around this direction. This is, well, in the 50s when I was growing up, and pretty much 50s, I think. That was Clarence and Irene Buckman's house, and Bob and Kathy grew up in that house. Irene had her beauty shop, I believe, in the basement too. And we were here quite a lot. And I just wanted to kind of look at the Belfield Lutheran Church here, and just thankful for all the wisdom in this town and really all the people that have worshiped here. And now here a little digitized sign. I know the school has a digitized sign, and the church here has also got a digitized sign. So this is the Belfield Lutheran Church. And well, when I was growing up, that it was not located in this area. It was up there by the school where that garage is, the big blue garage. Maybe right around there would have been, so that would have been the Norwegian church, they called it, Belfield Lutheran Church. It's just so beautiful. I think I'll just take a little gander around here, around the neighborhood. And it goes back there, along the line there. Can't get around it, but I was going to go show you the parsonage, which maybe some of you know this, maybe not, but the parsonage was converted into a food pantry a few years back. So that serves a nice amount of people there. And I'm going to head over there, see if I can get to it. Everybody's out enjoying the sunshine, I think, today. Okay, here's the tall peak of the building here. Let's see, maybe I can walk out into the middle of the street, catch that beautiful stained glass window here. There. I'm going to back up some more, get a full view of it. And then they've got a nice bell tower there. Let's check the bell tower out. I don't know if the bell rings at times. I missed it, probably does. Yeah, and then here's the big tree. Right along the river here, we've got some nice trees. So this, when I was growing up, was the parsonage. And I don't know, it looks like they might have added on to it also. So now it's called the Belfield. I'll get up closer now. Belfield Emergency Food Pantry. And this is some more parking back here. Oh yeah, that's a little garage that they built onto it. That's kind of nice. And then the porch here. Give it some more space here. So that you can see is right along the creek here. Heart River, I should say. And let's just check out the river down here, see what's happening. Maybe we'll see some deer today. Wouldn't that be fun? A little change. No, It sure is a very peaceful afternoon. So this is a kind of a nice tree here too. Appreciate those trees. Oh, look at that. The sky is opening up. Great. Well, here I've got a little article here from 1962 paper, which does show a picture of that Belfield Lutheran Church in 1962. You know, I really appreciate having newspapers. Growing up, we read the newspaper every day together as part of our family life. So when they stopped having a daily newspaper, that was a big change for me. So let's see if I can find a little spot where it's not gonna, yeah, it might be right up here where I can get a little closer. They have a nice deck here, and this, like I said, it serves a lot of people in the community. So let's see here. I'm going to show you so that's what the church, the exterior of the Belfield Lutheran Church looked like. Like I said, it was up there where the big blue bus garage is now for the school. So it says, the Belfield Lutheran Church history dates back 79 years. I know those old timers, about the same time they were looking to start the school, they were bringing in people to see if they couldn't get churches started. So it says, the history of the Belfield Lutheran Church can be traced back a period of almost 80 years into the early pioneer days of western North Dakota. During the last quarter of the 19th century and the first decade of the 20th, settlers came from the east to file on homesteads and to seek livelihood on the Dakota prairies. Among them were many Scandinavian Lutherans who, because of their agricultural background, were attracted to the free land. The United Norwegian Lutheran Church had followed in the train of the western settlers. It had come as far west as Sims, North Dakota, where there was an organized congregation. Reverend Nordby, the resident Lutheran pastor at Sims, made a trip to Belfield as early as 1883 to investigate the need and possibilities of a Lutheran church. One of the pioneers who was here, he stayed at the hotel in Belfield. One of the pioneers who was here at the time relates that the pastor had a very unpleasant night as shots were fired within hearing distance of the hotel all night. He felt that the time had not come for church, as there was no nucleus for a congregation. 5 years later, in 1888, he again came to Belfield and visited the Scandinavian settlers who lived along the Norwegian Creek, staying at Peder Endegard's place and holding most of the services there. Reverend Nordby came from Sims once a month to preach and perform ministerial acts. Endegard many times used to take his buggy to Sims to fetch the preacher to Belfield to hold services. It is estimated that only 6 Scandinavian families lived here at the time. And then it goes on to go through the history of the different pastors who came and were the pastors. There's one, Reverend Gausted, 1893 to 1906, period of 13 years. That's quite a long time at that time, I think. So by the turn of the century, the Scandinavians began to come in greater numbers. The opportunities for home mission work was therefore greater than it had been before. And there was an interval by the time Reverend Gustad left in 1907 when Reverend Larson from Taylor carried on the work, began by the pastor from Sims. A sufficient number of Lutherans lived in Belfield and vicinity for a congregation. On March 4th, 1907, The families interested in a church gathered at the home of Peter Endegard, and on that day, the Belfield Scandinavian Evangelical Lutheran Church was organized. A constitution was adopted and officers elected. Reverend Larson was present and led the meeting. And the following were present and became the charter members: Peter Endegard, Anton Anderson, Ingerbrit Nelson, Kristen Abrahamson, Sver L. Gjerdal, Carl Gjerdal, Bernie Hansen, Anders Aronson, and Sophie Eriksson. The following officers were elected. They had officers. I don't know how to pronounce some of those Norwegian names. When he first accepted the call, he became the first pastor of the newly organized congregation. Reverend Larson lived at Taylor. He served the congregation faithfully and ably. And so the article goes, Reverend Larson looked for new mission fields. He traveled far into the outlying districts to preach and to minister. Horses were his means of transportation. He spent so much time traveling that it often became necessary for him to study his sermons on the road. As Reverend Larson's field required all of his time, and since Belfield needed a resident pastor, Reverend Thorpe was called as the first resident pastor. He came to Belfield in 1909. His parish was extensive, as it included Gorham and all the way over to Sentinel Butte, Skull made. He served in the pastorate until 1915, with the exception of 1 year. The congregation did not have a house of worship up to the time of Reverend Thorpe. Meetings had been held in the farm homes and schoolhouses. The need of a church building was sorely felt, and in 1909 the congregation made an important step of building a church, the same building which is its house of worship today, which was up on the hill. And then they built a parsonage in 1912. In 1930, the church basement was completed and made into a meeting room. Well, Reverend Thorpe left in 1915. His successor was Reverend Swenson, came here in 1916 and stayed until 1916. So after the resignation of Reverend Swenson, the charge was vacant for almost 2 years, and the Lutheran population suffered considerable thinning out as many left the country on account of the drought. The Bethel Lutheran congregation at Daglum was added to Belfield Parish in 1921. Reverend Rugland was called as pastor and served here until July 1930, when Reverend Notstrand came. So they had various. Reverend Notstrom was succeeded by Reverend Jacobson. Upon Jacobson's leaving, Reverend Holland served the parish for 11 years. Reverend Lambert Locker served as pastor from 54 till 59. I remember them. That was part of my history. The present pastor, well, that was in 1962, is Reverend Alton Johnson. All of the charter members have been called to rest. However, a few of the early day members are still living, including William Johnson, 94 years old, Anton and Carl Indegard, Mrs. Mary Sorensen, Mrs. Helga Limbo, Mrs. Christine Christensen, Mr. and Mrs. Amos Strand, Mrs. Dina Broughton, Tom Lund, Christine Lund. The Ladies' Aid was organized in 1898. It consisted at the time of 9 members, meets regularly once a month. The ladies of the church have shown great interest through the years in the work of the congregation. So that's the inside of that Lutheran church, the first one that they built. And so they have a little thing about the altar in the this older church here. Belfield Lutheran Church launched a building program in 1958. Okay, now this is the one that we're looking at today. At 1958, after using the old church over 50 years, A building fund was started in 1957, and shortly after, the congregation elected a building committee. For several years, the congregation has been conducting a fund drive, and at the present time, over $25,000 has been donated towards the new church. Plans are to build the new church along modern architectural lines with a seating capacity for approximately 200 persons. The new church will also contain classrooms and dining room area. The building committee and church council is presently studying plans and specification in hopes to begin construction within the next 2 or 3 years, and they did. And this is the building they built, and real nice. And they've continued to improve on it, adding air conditioning and all those kind of things. I don't know if that they had them in 1957, but that is the Belfield Lutheran Church as it is now, and their signage here. Well, just looking here across the street, that was John Mohm's house, and that was sold, and somebody bought that home. And I am just looking here. Let's see. We got some nice trees. Boy, such a beautiful sunny day. I could walk quite a while, but I don't want to use up too much time here. But this is the road going uphill again. That would be the hill going up, and just kind of a gander at everybody and what's happening after the little snowfall. Yeah, I think this nice sunshine is going to melt it. Now here's an apartment building that was built quite a while back, but that was built by the Kessels. And we're not far from 85. Right there is 85. So we're right on the corner here. So I'm gonna turn it around and say thank you for joining me. Have a good afternoon. Bye now.